and welcome. This is the Midday News. For the first time since PNG became a nation, Prime Minister James Marape has been invited to address the Australian Parliament in February 2024. Marape expressed gratitude for the invitation and thanked the Australian Parliament through Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for the invitation. The announcement was made yesterday after the signing of the bilateral security agreement.
Will return the honour that I received in January of being the first foreign leader to address that Parliament, and I've written to the Speaker today, and with the support as well of the Leader of the Opposition, we look forward to welcoming Prime Minister Marape for that joint sitting of Parliament.
And I'm just happy that you are giving me an opportunity to address Parliament on the 8th of February in 2024 to emerging Australians and emerging Papua New Guineans. We can never compromise our two nations' closeness, our two nations' cultures, our two nations' history, and more importantly, as we leaders gel together.
The Minister for Environment and Climate Change, Simon Kilepa, who is leading the COP28 delegation, condemned media reports of alleged defiance of the Prime Minister's orders. The minister clarified that they complied to the Prime Minister's orders by reducing the delegation to 49, including private sector and NGO attendees. He said 29 participants actively contributed to climate efforts at COP28. The minister demanded an apology, emphasizing responsible journalism, and urged media outlets to verify information before publication to uphold credibility. The Hirikoyarid electorate this morning presented its District Services Improvement Program, Acquittal for 2022. As one of the new 7 electorates recently established, Member Keith Iduhu was present to deliver the acquittal to the Department of Implementation and Rural Development. Before presenting the acquittal, MP Iduhu gave a rundown of the district's project developments and its plan to secure further funding for the new year. Iduhu highlighted the challenges as a new electorate in its first year of administration and looks forward to building his electorate with a plan already in place. In a bid to make Kimbe Town safe, Kimbe Town residents hosted a peaceful march early this morning in conjunction with the 20-day human rights activism program. The march attracted corporate support from various business houses, and with SP Brewery being the major sponsor, activities were organized to commemorate the Human Rights Activism Day. At the conclusion of these activities, the West New Britain Super Sevens tournament will be launched and is also part of raising awareness on violence and promote peace and good order in the province through sports. The tournament will run from the 8th of December to the 10th of December and has attracted other corporate sponsors like New Britain Palm Oil, Air New Guinea and the National Gaming Control Board. Whilst Port Moresby's Capital Rugby Union is also assisting the tournament by providing training for officials. The 20th session of the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission, currently meeting in Rarotonga, Cook Islands. A joint statement from the WWF Pacific-led civil society organizations urged the delegates of the meeting to decide on outcomes that were aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 14 and its specific targets, such as regulating harvesting, ending overfishing, combating illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing and related issues, and addressing destructive practices. The delegates were urged to work together in developing innovative solutions, implementing effective policies, and promoting responsible practices that would safeguard the health and resilience of our oceans. And in overseas news, the Albanese government has made it to the end of the parliamentary year, scared after weeks of furious debate over its handling of a High Court ruling that forced the release of dozens of criminals into the community. Now armed with powers to ask a court to lock up some of the almost 150 people freed from immigration detention, The government is hoping the situation will stabilize as it heads into the long summer break.
Parliament's silly season, alive and well.
I've bought you an early Christmas present.
The Coalition's craft skills on display after accusations the government cut out debate late last night.
Oh, gutless. Gutless. You don't even want to debate it.
Ramming its new preventative detention laws through the House.
Since the High Court's decision, we have taken swift action to deal with the Court's requirement to release detainees.
The din stretching into today.
No, it's the last day. Far too much noise.
The opposition arguing the now 5 arrests out of an almost 150 people released from immigration detention on charges including indecent assault and breaching sex offender reporting rules show the government put community safety at risk.
Will the Prime Minister apologise to the Australian people?
Certainly. I am sorry any time someone is a victim of a crime.
And with just hours left in the parliamentary year, the government striking a deal on parts, not all, of its industrial relations overhaul.
Today is a really good day for workers' wages and a really good day for workers' safety.
Yielding to demands from the crossbench to split its contentious bill in two.
This is democracy working. This is the parliament working.
Measures ensuring emergency services workers get access to compensation for post-traumatic stress, the criminalising of wage theft, and requirements for contractors to be paid the same as full-time workers who are doing the same role, now written into law.
It's time the big boys were told, you will start paying. You've got massive profits, start paying.
Merry Christmas to those employers across Australia who are affected by, and I am going to call it a dirty deal because it is a dirty deal.
And with that, the 2023 parliamentary year draws to a close. A burst of pragmatic deal-making shows the government can still work through its planned agenda, but it's a tougher task getting on top of unplanned events, such as the High Court's demolition of indefinite immigration detention. Summers can prove to be a reset, but they can also unsettle shaky governments with unexpected challenges.
Farmers are threatening to lock the gate on a mining company they claim has breached environmental conditions of its lease. After investigating complaints, the South Australian government has ordered Chinese-owned company Murray Zircon to stop work at its mineral sands mines in the Murray-Mallee.
Kevin Heydrich never wanted mining on his farm at Galga. But after decades of fighting, he says he has a pit on his property that looks like it's in the Pilbara.
It's been off and on. They've been having a lot of trouble with that big plant behind us. But then it's all the stockpiles we're worried about, as you can see in the background.
Following numerous complaints from the Heydrichs alleging environmental breaches, the State Department of Energy and Mining issued a stop work notice to Murray Zircon. The department asked the company to submit a change in operations application after it created bigger stockpiles of overburden or topsoil than approved. Kevin is concerned that the breaches go beyond the compensation he was paid for mining activities and compromise the investment he's made in improving his land.
The worry, if they're in breach of that, are they going to do the rehabilitation properly?
Kevin's concerned about the future viability of the land. Farming industry groups are also worried. A spokesperson for Murray Zircon said in a statement that the company ceased mining and processing operations on Wednesday. Any works now will only be rehabilitation, maintenance and transport of product. It says it's working with the department to comply with its licence and should be able to meet its directions within 28 days.
In sports, with the successful completion of Pacific Games at the Solomon Islands recently, PNG sporting community has now turned their focus on the 8th PNG Games, scheduled to take place in Port Moresby in January 2024. The Games Council is adamant to host the Games given that it has been deferred 6 times in the last 6 years. While the Games Council is confident they can get this event completed as scheduled, financial concerns would still find a space in the Games conversation.
We have received the Pacific Games funding. In terms of how much of that goes to PNG Games, how much goes to Pacific Games, there hasn't been any discussion on that. So PNG Games is a standalone. We requested for funding for PNG Games as a standalone event. So it's not part of the Pacific Games funding. So we have asked Treasury to try and support us for the PNG Games. But at the same time, we're not waiting for them. We are using whatever resources that we have to ensure that the groundwork is done.
And that ends the midday news. We'll have more news at 6. Bye for now.